Hey guys, and that's right, I just got hired at Nintendo, and my first assignment is to pitch a new game idea to my boss, and that's due right now. What am I gonna do? Calm down. You shouldn't be too hard. I got it! All I gotta do is use a random body part generator and make a game about that. Okay then.
So let's hear your game idea.
So, get this, a fighting game with extendable butt cheeks. I'd like to call it ass.
That was horrible, you're fired.
Subscribe to Talkie Momo.
Yup, I was fired. But it looks like Nintendo still used my extendable body part idea with their new fighting game IP, ARMS. So today, let's take a look at ARMS and see if it truly captures my original artistic vision.
The Nintendo Switch was officially revealed on October 20th, 2016, followed up by a special presentation on January 13th, 2017, where they reveal more technical aspects of the system and some of the games that will be coming to the Switch. ARMS just so happened to be one of the games that was announced. It was first revealed with a trailer showing a man about to beat up a little girl, when all of a sudden their arms turn into springs and it transitions into gameplay of Springman vs. Ribbon Girl. After the trailer, the producer of ARMS, Kosuke Yabuki, gives more detail about the game. He initially describes it as a boxing and shooting hybrid, where you punch with the arms, but also aim and fire from a distance. One of the main aspects of ARMS that was revealed here was its heavy reliance on motion controls, using the Joy-Con to punch and move around. The concept seemed pretty interesting, and I couldn't wait to hear about the final name and see the final box art. Nope, ARMS was the final title, and this was the final box art. I mean, I guess the name makes sense. It is about arms, but come on, if they had put a little more effort in, they would have thought of a better name. And I guess the box art is alright. I just think for a game with such great character designs and an interesting world, it could have been more fleshed out and featured more characters besides just Ribbon Girl socking Springman in the face. The ARMS segment ended with a release date of spring 2017. One odd thing I noticed was that while they were obviously trying to market the motion controls, they made no mention whatsoever about the other control schemes, such as in handheld mode or in the Joy-Con grip. And I bet these control schemes are what people ended up using the most. Following the months before the release, there are two ARMS directs, one in April and one in May. During each of these, they announced new fighters, arms, and modes. The May direct ended with an announcement for a global test punch, akin to Splatoon's global test fire, where participants were able to test out arms for a limited time. The May direct also announced that they would be having multiple free updates that include new fighters and stages, which was nice to hear. ARMS finally released on June 16, 2017. At its release, it received mostly positive reviews, coming at around 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 from most reviewers. But the game was never as successful as Splatoon, Nintendo's other new IP. It only sold 2.1 million copies, which isn't bad, but Splatoon sold over 15 million copies, and that was on a hardware that nobody wanted. So why is that?
Well, I guess the only way to find out is to play ARMS. This is ARMS.
You know, I think the game is trying to tell us something here. For some reason, I have the sudden urge to throw my Joy-Con at my TV. ARMS does support multiple different types of controllers, such as a Pro Controller, the sideways Joy-Con, or handheld mode, but the main way they want us to control it is with motion controls. The motion controls see you punching the Joy-Con to throw a punch, using the left and right shoulder buttons to jump or dash, tilting the Joy-Con inwards to block, and tilting the Joy-Con around to move. On the opposite side of the spectrum, using a normal controller, you can use A and B, or my preferred layout, ZL and ZR to punch. Use Y to dash, X to jump, the left joystick, and pressing the left joystick allows you to block. Now look, I have nothing against motion controls, but they're just not my thing. In ARMS they work pretty well. My only main complaint is that to move you have to tilt the controllers, which just feels weird, and sometimes I don't tilt them enough so I end up not moving. I bet there are some people out there who prefer using motion controls, but that's just not me. Considering how much Nintendo advertised the motion controls, I'm surprised they didn't sell plastic in the shape of punching gloves for the Joy-Con to go into. Now aside from the basic controls, you can also grab, which breaks blocks by punching with the left and right arms at the same time. You can unleash a powerful JoJo's reference when your meter is full, and you can charge up your arms by holding down either dash or jump. Charging up your arms will give different effects depending on the arm's attribute. There's fire that burns enemies, electricity that disables opponents' arms, stun that, well, stuns enemies, wind that blows enemies away, explosion that, well, creates explosions after hitting an enemy, ice that freezes enemies, and blind that, well, blinds enemies. So basic gameplay for the game is pretty good. It's definitely more on the casual side of fighting games, but it's still a very solid fighting system that's easy to control but difficult to master. After we get through this surprisingly long loading screen, we're hit with one of the best parts of the game, the character roster. At launch, there are only 10 characters, but after constant free updates we ended up with 15 unique fighters. Now while the basic controls are the same across all characters, each character has a different weight, speed, and attack power. They also have their own stage, 3 signature arms, 4 color options, and at least 1 special ability. You can also unlock all the arms for all the characters, but we'll get to that later. Now they all play differently, but they also all have their own style and unique personality. So let's run through the characters, shall we? We have Springman, the rookie fighter with the ability to parry incoming attacks. His arms also stay fully charged after he reaches 25% health or less. Ribbon Girl, a pop star with the ability to jump multiple times in midair. Ninjara, my personal main. He's a student studying ninjutsu at Ninja College, and he has the ability to teleport after blocking and while midair dashing. Master Mummy, a mummy brought back to life with the ability to heal 10 HP while blocking. Min Min, a Chinese martial artist with the ability to kick down incoming attacks. She can also charge up her arms long enough that her arm transforms into a dragon. Mechanica, an engineer who made her own mech suit to allow her to fight in the Arms League. She can also use her suit to hover in the air while holding the jump button. Twintel, an actress and the only person to ever have hair with the arms ability. She can also slow down incoming attacks while charging her punches or during her air dash. Bite and Bark, a robotic duo consisting of a police bot and a robotic dog. While the player controls Bite, an AI controls Bark, and will help fight the enemy by unleashing a punch every 5 seconds. Kid Cobra, a professional skateboarder with the ability to perform multiple consecutive dashes. Helix, a goo-like creature created by the ARMS laboratory, who's able to manipulate his height by either sinking down to the ground or by growing his body taller. Max Brass, the champion and head of the Arms League. He wields the ability to temporarily increase the size of his upper body where he will be able to resist being knocked down. Lollipop, a world-traveling clown with the ability to inflate her body when shielded, which improves her defensive abilities. Misango, a spiritual fighter with a spirit companion which will assist him in battle, creating a pillar for blocking attacks, or by fusing with him to increase his resistance, mobility, or rust gauge, depending on which color it is. Springtron, a robot modeled after Springman created by ARMS Labs, has the ability to send a shockwave and disable enemy arms. Dr. Coyle, the director of ARMS Laboratories with the dream of becoming the most powerful ARMS fighter, is able to hover, get a therm arm, and can become invisible after being knocked down or holding guard. So those were all the fighters in ARMS, which is, in my opinion, one of the strongest aspects of the game. Another strong part of the game is its world, which we get to see in its stages. First, Springman stage, Spring Stadium. There's not much to say about this one. I mean, it's fine. It's just a square with spring platforms on the edges that you can bounce off of.
It's alright.
Ribbon Ring, Ribbon Girl stage. Another square, except this time squares come up from the ground.
It's alright.
Ninja College. If you couldn't already tell, it's Ninjara's stage, and it's just a rectangle that has a lower and upper section.
It's alright.
Mausoleum, Master Mummy stage. This time it's a circle with a hidden trampoline in the middle.
It's alright.
Ramen Bowl, Min Min stage. Yeah, it's pretty much a ramen bowl, and this time it's another circle, except this time there's a dip in the middle.
It's alright.
Cinema Deux, Twintel stage. This stage is personally one of my favorites because in my opinion it's pretty unique to the rest. The shape is neither a circle nor a rectangle, and it's more of a quarter circle. The theme is also pretty cool. It's the entrance to a movie theater and features limos out in the front to jump on top of or to use as cover. This one is more than alright. I'd even say it's good. Buster Beach, Bite and Bark stage. As the name suggests, this one takes place on a beach and actually features a uniquely shaped layout, except that's all it has going for it, as it doesn't even have any unique stage hazards or features, well besides a tiny raised platform in the middle.
It's alright.
Snake Park, Kid Cobra stage. Now this one is another pretty cool one. It takes place in a circular skateboard park, except there's an actual unique feature in this one. In the middle of the arena, there are 2 skateboards that fighters can jump on and move around with. I actually quite like this one. DNA Lab, Helix's stage. This takes place inside of a laboratory and it's another square-shaped arena with its destructible pillars in the middle.
It's alright.
Sky Arena, Max Brass's stage. This one is an arena in the sky. Wow, whoever named these stages is very creative. This one is yet another square-shaped arena and only features a raised platform in the middle.
It's alright.
Via Dolce, or Dulce, whatever. It's a Lollipop stage, and this one takes place in a small street with a couple of cafes surrounding the arena, and the shape isn't a rectangle, but it's more like 3 rectangles, or an S shape, either works, And there isn't any gimmick, it's literally just a street.
It's alright.
Temple Grounds, Misango stage. And this one takes place in front of a temple in the jungle, and it's just a half circle with destructible pillars in it.
It's alright.
Sparring Ring, Springtron stage. And this stage is the plainest of the plain, but I think this one gets away with it because it was originally just a warm-up stage for multiplayer lobbies, but was eventually added to all the modes once Springtron was added, so this one gets a pass. Name Redacted. Yes, that's the actual name, it's not just some weird SCP thing. This is the home stage of Dr. Coyle, and it's her secret research lab. And get this, it's a square with destructible pillars, except it features a conveyor belt in the middle. That's so cool!
It's alright.
So there you have it. Most of the ARMS stages are
Alright.
with a few exceptions. Now, I don't hate the stages here. I quite like most of the stage themes. It's just I was expecting more variety. Let's take Smash Bros as an example. In Smash Bros, there are a whole lot of stages, but ARMS didn't need a large number of stages. I think 15 is fine. Is that they should be more varied, besides just 3 basic types of stages. When we look at Smash Bros stages, each of them has their own unique layout, platform type, background, stage hazards, some even have stage bosses, and this was the kind of stuff that ARMS was missing. Instead of them all just being a basic shape with a one gimmick to them, they should have tried to have more varied stage structures, in different shaped layouts. So while the stages were alright, I think they could have been more, like with Smash Bros stages.
But what do I know? I only played Battlefield and Omega Form stages in Smash anyways.
So ARMS has great character designs, a fun and interesting world, good gameplay mechanics, and some decent stage design. So why did it not take off like Splatoon? Well, let's take a look at what we can do in ARMS. So first we have Grand Prix, which is similar to Smash Bros Classic mode, where you choose a fighter and go through a set of fights with various minigames mixed in. It's sort of fun, but it's basically just doing versus matches over and over again. Next we have Versus. In Versus there are various different ways to verse opponents. First off is Fight. It's a run-of-the-mill versus mode. You choose a fighter and just have a 1v1 match against the CPU or against another player locally. Second is Team Fight. It's just fight except it's 2v2. Then there's V-Ball. It's just fight except you just punch a ball over a net instead of punching your opponents. Next is Hoops. It's just fight again except you spam throw and try to throw your enemy into that basketball hoop. There's Skill Shot. It's basically just fighting again except you punch targets. After Skill Shot is Headlock Scramble. This one is literally just fight, except you can get the headlock, which is essentially just a power-up that gives you extra arms. Next is 1-on-100. This one is single player only and is basically like Smash's multi-man Smash. You try to survive waves of enemies until you have beaten 100 enemies, and it's just like Smash Bros, you play it once and then never again. In the final mode in Versus mode is Arms Test. This is literally just a random Versus mode with random arms. So, most of the offline versus modes are just minigame variations of a standard match, but they're still online play, right? Well, yes, there is online play, it's literally just versus matches, so if you like playing online and trying to get your rank up, sure, go for it. So most of the modes were lackluster, but there's gotta be some collectibles, right? Well, yes, there are 3 main types of collectibles. There's badges, arms, and artwork. You earn badges by completing various different tasks. Then you can choose one of the badges that you've unlocked to display with your profile. Wow, this is worthless. Next up is artwork. You can use currency that you've earned in-game from versus matches and such to buy artwork. I've only ever used this once. I went to the art tab, wasted all of my currency, looked at each picture once, and then never looked at them again. Finally, you can unlock extra arms for your fighters, and I think it's probably the only worthwhile unlockable. So, to unlock more arms, you go to get arms, where you can use your currency to play a minigame for a different amount of time, depending on how much you spend. So let's go over to get arms, choose a time slot, and this is Skill Shot again. Once you have to play Skill Shot again, except this time there are presents that you can punch down that will net you some sweet new arms. You can then equip the new arms and use them in more battles. So the collectibles are pretty worthless besides new arms. And I think what would have been cool is maybe having unlockable costumes or cosmetic gear from, say, a shop or something that you could then equip to your characters to make them more unique. I mean, they're already color swaps, so just make some more and add them to a shop or something. So, let's talk about how I'd fix arms. You see, Nintendo thought they could fix arms by adding more and more free fighters and stages. But that's not what people wanted. Well, yes, there are good additions, people wanted more to do besides just versus matches and a couple minigames. See, Splatoon did well because besides just a normal turf war, there are more unique game modes in ranked matches such as tower control and splat zones. But there's also a pretty fun story mode as well. So I think ARMS could have really benefited from a story mode so we can learn more about these amazing characters in the really cool world. Some other fun additions could be more collectibles and maybe even a challenge mode.
So in the end, Nintendo's fresh new IP, ARMS, died very quickly due to a lack of content. It truly is a shame that we lost such a cool world with some great characters. Well, yes, Miniman did get into Smash, that was not enough to save this game. But maybe in the future, we'll finally get the ARMS sequel that we deserve. And that sequel is ass. Coming soon to Nintendo Switch.